Hello and welcome to our emaVR tutorial. I would like to show you how to work with emaVR. First of all, I will explain to you what advantages working with your EMA simulation in virtual reality has for you. The feature gives you the possibility to view and immersively experience your EMA scenarios in a virtual environment. You can move through the scenario and experience EMA from a completely new perspective. Test your assembly processes yourself by grabbing and moving objects and placing them with the familiar technologies from EMA Work Designer, snapping and gravity. To help you get started with emaVR, this tutorial will teach you the following. What are the system requirements? Which viewing options there are in EMA Work Designer? How to navigate in the virtual environment? How to play your EMA simulation? How you can try out your simulated assembly processes yourself and grab and move objects? Which possibilities there are for collaboration? And how to use the virtual desktop in your work with emaVR. To use emaVR, you will need a powerful computer or laptop that meets at least the recommended or higher EMA hardware requirements. These can be found on our website emk-ema.com. You can use any headset that uses emaVR, but we have developed with and therefore recommend the following head-mounted displays: HTC Vive Pro, Pico Neo 3 Pro, Pico Neo 3 Link and MetaQuest 2. The requirement for emaVR is an EMA Work Designer version 2.2 or higher with a valid license. You also need to have the Steam and SteamVR software installed. If you would like to use the headsets of the manufacturers Pico or Oculus, you also need the associated software. To activate the VR functionalities in EMA, first start SteamVR and, in case you use Pico or Oculus hardware, also the associated app. Next, establish a connection to your VR headset. Then open the EMA Work Designer and load your project file. We have prepared a simple scenario for you: the assembly of a gearbox. Once SteamVR is running, a drop-down menu for activating emaVR appears in the left pane of the EMA Work Designer window. Here you can select different VR modes. Use a VR and layout mode to have the complete layout displayed in the 3D view and a smaller window with a view of the VR user. This additional window can be moved around as you like. Second, there is a VR and field of view mode, where only the VR user's view is displayed. If you work with very large scenarios and want to improve your performance, you can use the performance mode. In this tutorial, we will work in the VR and layout mode. So, let's start the assembly scenario. You can move around in the virtual environment in 3 different ways. Use teleportation for longer distances. Therefore, press the trigger button on the left controller and use the beam to select a target. Confirm your selection by pressing the trigger button again. If you want to cancel the teleportation, just aim up in the air. Teleportation into objects is not possible. For shorter distances, you can use the joystick navigation. The joystick on the left controller lets you walk back and forth and turn left and right. If you have enough freedom of movement in your work environment, you can also navigate by walking and turning. After you have orientated yourself in the virtual environment, you want to get an impression of your simulated process. You need the right controller to play the simulation. Get an overview of the playback by activating the playback bar with the A button. The playback itself can be started by moving the joystick to the right. increase the playback speed by clicking to the right several times. Or push the joystick left to slow down or pause the playback. emaVR offers you the possibility to grab and assemble objects yourself. Therefore, approach an object with your controller until the collision is detected. You will get a feedback from the vibration of the controller. Hold down the grip button to pick up the object you want. Note that locked objects cannot be moved. To make it easier to place in VR, you must first create assembly templates in ema Work Designer. Then your target positions are highlighted, and the object snaps in when it's close enough. If you have grabbed something wrong, use the gravity technology to get rid of it. In case you are working with very large scenarios and wish for an improved performance, use the B button to disable the collision detection. If you want to undo the changes you made, press and hold the X button for 1 second. The previous steps you were able to do on your own. Now imagine you are in a workshop and want to edit the scenario further. For this, you can simultaneously work with a user on the desktop. When the operator on the 2D desktop manipulates objects or adds something to the scene, the changes directly appear in the scene for the VR user. Let me show you that with my colleague. Hey, could you add another rack for me? Yes, a little closer to my table, please. Ah, that's perfect. Thank you. You will notice that objects selected by the desktop user are locked for you in VR. If you want to carry out further work steps in VR, you can use the virtual desktop. To do this, open the Steam menu by clicking on the menu button and select the desktop icon. In this way, ema can be used, for example, to view results or to load new elements. The scenario can also be resimulated and the changes made are saved. Of course, you can also load new scenarios. this brings us to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please visit our website emk-ema.com.